Today on Warriorz Talk, we have a gentleman in the house that is the pure essence of hip hop. This man here has been a grapher, a producer, a videographer, above all. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you today Mr. Tech, the eternal knowledge, a.k.a. Jamal Jackson.
Yo, what's good? What's
Give
good?
it up
Good,
at home,
good,
man.
my brother. How you doing?
How you doing, brother?
Pleasure, man. Baby.
Pleased to have you here, man. Thanks for taking the opportunity to come here, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, man. It's a pleasure
Yes,
to be here.
sir. We've been taking a look at your work,
Mm.
and we're going to try to expound on the best we can today.
Sheesh, let's get it.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Jamal, let's start at the beginning.
The source.
What are your origins?
Okay, so I'm American and Quebecer. So
I mean, mother, father. Give us
okay,
that.
so my mom's Czechoslovakian Quebecer,
Okay.
right? And my dad's Afro-American.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
dope.
Yeah. So I did a lot of states, New York, Hempstead.
So you had different varieties of culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I was born in Montreal, though.
You were born in Montreal.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, that's dope.
Yes, sir.
Just to know for the viewers, when you were growing up, what was the hardest time you had, and what did it teach you?
Shit, that's a good question. I would see. Well, my dad passed away when I was 12 years old. So seeing my mom struggle and she's the hardest working person I know, and I've seen her struggle going to university, raising me and stuff like that, late night crying, all that stuff, and just putting in the work and studying, and getting her master's degree, and then becoming basically. My dad was an agent in music, and he passed the legacy to my mom, but my mom was kind of in the shadows, so she learned a little bit more by going back to university and so on and applying it to a different level. You know what I mean?
Okay, so would you say your background in music comes specifically from your father?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's dope.
Absolutely. I grew up with legends, and just my dad would book big artists and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yep.
That's dope, man.
Yep.
So you had a background there. Your father, for which part of America?
Oh, New York.
New York.
New
Oh, your
York.
father's a New Yorker.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, Long Island, man. Long Island, Hempstead.
That's dope.
Yep.
Now, amongst the things you did graphing, you did producing, and overall also notably videographing. I wanted to ask you, when you started your journey as a producer, who was your first artist, man?
Okay, so producing actually came very late. And one thing, I never was a grapher. It's more b-boying.
You did beatboxing as well.
Yeah, beatbox is just for fun. Beatboxing to me is more okay, I have a beat in my head, so I'm going to start beatboxing. So I got a certain aesthetic. I know exactly how I'm going to do it on the beat. And also in ciphers. So, you always need some beatboxer or something. I just got good at it. That's all it is, you know what I mean?
That's dope.
But yeah, b-boying was the first step into the culture.
Yeah. So you're talking about breaking. Big Daddy Kane and all.
No, b-boying, breaking.
Breaking.
Yeah. We're talking about 22 years deep.
I see.
That's what made me a man. Traveling, seeing the world, battles, all that stuff. Blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I mean?
No, that's dope.
That's what's up.
Now, Jamal, your mother, as I came to find out, won an Oscar.
No, Grammy.
She won a Grammy
Twice.
What was the category and what was the project? If you have any...
so my mom's an agent, so it's our artist, and there's the first one is his name is Dwayne Dupsey and the Zydeco Hellraisers. It's a form of music. It's a type of blues, but Cajun style. Okay, from New Orleans. So it's high tempo. It has the accordion. It's it gets the party rocking. And then 2 years ago at the last Grammys, well, not the last one, but the one 2 years ago, I went with my mom and I documented the whole thing. I did a documentary on my mom, and it was quite special to be there that night because she went on stage and everything with the whole artist and everything. And it was like, wow, man.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so you're going from beatboxing, breaking, producing. When did you make the switch to videography?
Oh, shit.
Okay. And who was your first artist there?
Okay, so my basic is I started off with photography. Okay. As a b-boy, if I wasn't battling, I was documenting. I've been to easily 400 battles or more. So as Phototech, because my b-boy name evolved. It started with tech, which is eternal knowledge, as you know. You did your homework, you know what I mean? So I started with tech, and then at some point, people were like, yo, bro, Phototech, because you're the guy with the camera. You know what I mean? So because of photography, I learned composition, I learned timing, because you know, dancers, there's a big difference between taking a good picture of a guy freezing and one that he looks crazy.
True,
you know what I mean?
true,
So that gave me the basis. And then what happened is that in my early 20s, I had a label which was called Laser Records. And we're now back, by the way. So what's up?
They're
Laser
back in
Records,
the
Laser Records in the
house.
house, you know what I mean? So at the time we had a roster of artists, and at the time also the guy that was doing our videos, his name was it's DJ Crowd. You know DJ Crowd?
I know DJ Crowd.
Okay, so he was doing our videos at the time. And at some point, he started focusing on SP's career, like Sans Pression, you know, OG, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So he started concentrating on his career, and that's where it created a void where I was like, okay, well, who's going to take care of our videos? There you go. So I took the mantle, and that's it. I just
So you put an extra hat, as they say.
stepped up, and I loved it. You know, that was my first adventure in filmmaking, and I'm already like a filmmaking nerd. Like I love filmmaking. I love the process. Instead of looking at who's acting, I'm looking at who's directing and why he did this and what choice, you know? And that's since I was like 10 years old, I've always been like really interested in that. And also another background is that I was a childhood actor. I was in a show called Are You Afraid of the Dark when I was a kid. It was a syndicated show on YTV.
I think so. We watched. Yeah, I think I watched that. You're Afraid of the Dark.
Yeah. It started. The intro was like in front of a fire and all that. So yeah, I did that for many years, and just seeing the whole machine of filmmaking and the behind the scenes, I told myself, you know what, I want to be that guy one day, and that's the camera.
That gave you the bug.
Exactly.
That's a lot of experiences you had, like going around people and being in the industry.
Yeah.
There's something I saw recently, and apparently you were in a project, and the artist passed away.
Yeah.
The reason why I ask is, of course, it would have affected you in a certain way, and also to send our deepest condolences to that artist as well.
Young A Stunning, man. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, brother.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. The streets are violent. It's not a joke. It's pretty sad that sometimes artists don't separate. Because it's one thing about speaking a certain thing that you lived, right?
That's right.
But as you get better and you grow out of it and you're making money with your music, you should be able to separate the streets from it. And unfortunately, some people actually keep it. And this was it wasn't even a bullet that was meant for him. It was but I don't want to speak too much about that. You know what I mean? But yeah. And he was a promising artist. Like, bro, like, he had
There's a lot of circumstances like that. I'd like to name as well. Rest in peace. Bad News Brown is in that list as well, because
rest in peace, for real.
we lost a big one right there.
Absolutely.
So on that note, because he left, let me ask you this question. If you were given 24 hours to live, that is, and you were given all the proper equipment, you can travel, you could go anywhere, and you can work with one artist, which artist would that be?
Dead or alive?
Alive.
Yeah, fantasy situation.
Alive. Let's cut the fantasy in half and say you have 24, but the artist got to be alive.
Okay, and when you say work, is it in production, is it in filmmaking? Like you're talking about shooting a music video?
Yeah, mostly shooting a video. Yes.
Shit.
Which artist would we want?
That's a good question, man.
Of course.
Okay, let's go with it. Kendrick.
Ooh.
Kendrick. Let's go with Kendrick.
They're not like us, though.
Yeah. I'd bring something different, and I really like how not to speak too much about that whole battle that happened, because to me it was a murder. It wasn't even a battle. It was culture versus commerce.
Facts.
Two different things. You know what I mean? But what I did like about the past summer that just passed and everything that just happened, it was like you saw a resurgence of the culture being in the whole West Side, unity and all that, which we haven't seen in a minute.
That's true. And not to mention that Kendrick's is more of a lyrical individual. Yeah. And for the West Coast, it's not a major standard.
Yep.
And the West Coast, we got the gangster music, the thug music, that NWA, Ice Cube,
Yeah.
I want to ask you this on a serious note. What are the pre-requirements for an artist that wants to work with someone like Jamal Jackson?
Well, first of all, contact. You know what I mean? Reach out to me.
Yeah.
I'm very accessible. There's some people that actually put a really high price point as far as
Yeah, they make it that way.
Yeah,
so that's...
but I understand the hard, it's very difficult to be an artist. You're always self-funded.
Yes.
The fact that you're paying for every step of the game from, studio recordings to mastering to, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool to be accessible. So I do have price ranges. So it's not that, it's not complicated to reach out to me. You know what I mean? My Instagram is all that is popping. But requirements, I would say just once I see your work and I see that you're at least active and you're serious about it, it's good.
Would you work with an artist that you didn't like?
That's a good question because we're talking about business versus.
Yeah, let's say he got the money.
I mean? Yeah,
he got the machine. You don't like his music.
We're talking about garbage.
We talking about garbage.
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. My name's on it.
You're not messing with him.
No, I would say there were times in the beginning where I was trying to make my name where I was like, okay, and props to them. They've gotten better and some quit because they realized the game wasn't for them. There are times where I wouldn't put my name on projects simply because the project was trash. You know? But you're making a name for yourself or at least gaining experience out of that too. So I wouldn't say no to any projects. Now I'm in a position where I'm a little bit more picky. But that's pretty much it, man.
So definitely, Jamal, now you're in a position where it is quality over quantity.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a deep question.
Jeez, go for it.
Jamal, who is your biggest competitor in the game right now?
Myself.
Ooh.
Myself. Damn.
Now, Jamal, I was hoping for you to say something else. Is it A, because you have too much respect for the other producers, or is it B, because you haven't assessed the situation properly
No,
yet?
because I'll tell you this way. There came at a time where I was putting out so much work that I was getting bored out of Montreal. Ooh. So I traveled and I went to other aspects of hip hop. The culture's big. I could tap in any family worldwide and I'll be accepted. You know what I mean? Because, it's a worldwide hip hop, it's a culture, you know what I mean? So it's not only about my body of work, but also because I know people. So it's very simple to just, go from one place to another. But to answer your question, really, the thing about Montreal, it's kind of like hater capital.
Ooh.
It's crab in a bucket mentality. So I'm never going to answer and start putting people down because people are quick to do that.
People are very quick to put people down, and sadly, even the Warriorz talk cast.
Yeah, and there's people, there's snakes. There's snakes in the industry. Of course, there's people I would never fuck with. Of course.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean, but,
okay.
Salute, man.
Well said. Salute.
That's it.
Now, Jamal, I've noticed that you're a frequent attendant of the end of the week contest.
Yes, EODUB, man.
What does that mean to you?
Wow. Oh, that's a beautiful question, brother. First of all, end of the week means community. It's the essence of hip hop because we're going back to the cipher, right? We're going back to freestyle and we're going back to the essence of hip hop.
That's right.
Everything started in the cipher, regardless if it's b-boying or just guys throwing up, graffiti
beatboxing,
tags. It doesn't matter. It all started in that energy being exchanged in the circle,
in the
circle. Call cipher, right?
Yes,
so what I like about EODUB or end of the week, you know what I mean? Rest in peace of Vice Versus. You know
Rest
what I mean?
in peace.
Absolutely. One of the founders, you know what I mean? And it's a worldwide family. That's what it means to me.
That's
family.
dope.
Yeah.
How would you compare that particular production to other things organized within Montreal?
Doesn't compare.
Oof.
Doesn't compare. Montreal, like I said, the first thing is that it has that crab in a bucket mentality where people kind of hate from you, instead of trying to unite, which is really hard, you usually don't see unity because they're all little pockets of families on one side trying to leg up each other, you know what I mean? So,
yes.
and what I often see in New York, for example, and that's where the birthplace of hip hop, but also where End of the Week started, there's that, that unity that really holds in tight. You know what I mean? The weekend that in 2023, we did the End of the Week finals in New York where a bunch of countries just showed up. That was one of the best weekends I've had in my life. Like we were freestyling on the boat, on bikes, in front of venues and museums, like everywhere. And we were like 40 deep.
You guys brought hip hop with you everywhere you went, basically.
Easy. It was beautiful.
I love that. And me, I'm a particular lover of East New York type music.
Right. Yeah.
And I saw you at the Rockness Monster party.
Yeah. Oh, man. You're doing your research.
Come on, man. We the Warriorz,
okay,
man.
So I'll say, big what's up to Big Rock.
This is Rockness Monsters brand. We're at his birthday party this week.
I'm actually in a good mood today. Shit, been in a good mood. Ask me why. Bitch, I'm still celebrating. Yeah. Rock filthy but not guilty, y'all. They throwing the big, super duper celebratory shindig for this song, bitch. All my monsters as well. Come through. All the monsters, all the beasts, all the animals. Not on no rah-rah shit. Whatever you do, if niggas can't fuck with you when you do that.
Big what's up to
Yo,
Big Rock.
so-
Helter Skelter. Rest in peace, Sean Price.
Yeah, absolutely, Sean Price.
Always.
So he's, to me, my favorite MC of all time.
Oof.
Okay? The energy he brings in. When
He
you
does.
see him on stage, it's like a god, you know what I mean? He's
Undeniable.
a tank, you know what I mean?
Undeniable.
And the thing is, so I was lucky. It was their whole at the end of the week weekend. It's when it happened. So I basically went to his party. Everyone was in there, from like Beat Nuts, Juju,
Buckshot.
The whole crew was there. You know what I mean?
This is a monster's ball. Baby, this where all the monsters ball. Yeah, yeah, we still celebrating. Da, 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 da. Still
Even Bernadette Price, which is, you know, I ended up working with her and doing a video and everything. So
Wow.
yeah.
It
So-
went down like this.
Yeah, so he did his, I think it was his 51st, 50 or 51st, I don't remember, but he did his 50th birthday, and it was also the 50th birthday or celebration of hip hop
Of
culture.
hip hop, yes.
So that night, he was celebrate. Two things were being celebrated. You know what I mean?
His birthday.
And the culture.
And the culture.
Yeah, and that shit was live. You know what I mean? So
That's dope.
yeah.
I love that, man. So you were there, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
this-
Bedside. Yeah.
Okay, so let's swing it over to Harlem. How did you end up shooting the Harlem video with Jim Jones?
Okay, so I didn't shoot it. I did BTS.
Boom.
I was part of the whole entourage and everything. Energy was crazy. Off the
Crazy.
hook.
That song is
I
crazy.
mean, the funny thing is, as a kid, I wasn't really a Dipset guy. Like, I was more into like a certain vibe. You know, Dipset has always been swaggity, and they weren't about bars so much. It was really about swag. And if you're from Harlem, you understand how Harlem gets down like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
but man, just shout out to them. You know what I
Man,
mean?
shout
Just
out to the whole Harlem.
Yeah,
Shout out to
that's it.
everybody out
That's
there.
it. Yeah, and how I got there, I'm just literally just hitting up people, and that's it. And they're like, "Yo, bro, just come through," and that's it, man. That's simple.
It seems so far you've been talking about you're not in competition. You're actually in a deep collaboration
Yes.
with the culture.
Absolutely.
And that's what's
Absolutely.
missing out here, isn't it?
And that's also one way I get to travel so much.
Okay.
It's not that I get bored of Montreal. It's more from a visual aspect that I've shot everything.
That's right.
Literally in the studio we're here, I've done like maybe 40 projects.
Okay.
You know, so it's like
You want to see something new.
yes,
Okay.
yes. My camera's a passport to the world.
Speaking of something new,
Yes,
can you speak to me about the Dirty Clansmen?
you're really doing your research. Wow. Okay. So
We ain't playing out here. By the way, we don't do no playing around here about the Warriorz.
Okay. Big what's up to Dungeon
Big,
Master.
what's up?
Eddie Hispanic, Brooklyn in the place, you know what I mean? So Dirty Clansmen is basically an offshoot of ODB's crew. Okay, so when he died, Brooklyn Zoo became Zoo Bullies, and then Dirty Clansmen was another offshoot, right?
Okay.
So Dungeon Master being the pupil, or literally in the crew with ODB. Well,
The drunken master style.
yeah, exactly. So that became a whole clique, and that's that's something I was part of in there for a minute. Yeah.
That's dope, Jamal.
Yeah.
Can you speak to us about your own personal group? Because you do rap as
I have a lot of
well.
groups. I'm a guy that's less solo, and I like being part of a collective. You know what I mean? So regardless if it's Chroma Ship, for example, with my brother Monkey, that's a group that we had. We had one album we put out like 4 years ago or something like that.
You were referring to Monkey One?
Monkey, yeah.
The original, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Monkey One.
Yes, sir,
Gros
yes,
respect,
sir.
frérot.
Yes, sir. Yeah, amazing grapher, good human
Amazing
being,
grapher.
his light shines, you know what I mean? So there's that group. And of course, there's another group called Woke, which is Warriorz of Culture.
Ooh.
Yeah. But that's that group. The thing about groups is that it's all about timing.
Yes.
Right? The first group I had, I've had many groups. My first group was Ilaments with my boy Impact, which is now Flowmatic. That was maybe 17 years ago.
That true school child, these young fools get beat down, busting that boom back, blazing at your techniques, blow. Worldwide elements connecting all sets. It's a clan you'll love to hate cause you can't comprehend. This little generation's used to easy raps, faking facts. That don't spit blanks, victim C's fall flat on.
Yeah.
History.
But my point is that every group I've had was based on certain timings. And for example, in my last place I lived, which was a loft, it was a very important part of the community because, you know, I had a studio and everything and people were coming through. And unfortunately, while I was in Thailand, the 23rd of March, 2024, it burnt down. So I lost everything, all my belongings, everything, you know, my studio, my photo studio and all that, souvenirs pretty much. But more importantly, I lost something that was really important for the community, you know? So that kind of killed the vibe. Not saying we're not a group no more. Now I have a studio in Laval, but it's access, it's timing, it's all that. Yeah.
So it's a symbiotic relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
We were together all the time, you know? Now we don't live, you know, we're not in that specific place no more, so.
Yeah, it's not. But it'll be, you'll recreate something.
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
absolutely.
Can always be recreated.
Can, of course.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now I wanna say this to the viewers. We're speaking to Jamal. Jamal is beatboxed. He's done producing. He's a videographer. But do not forget that he is also a frequent traveler.
Yes.
You've notably went to Guadeloupe, Dubai,
Yes, sir.
and Japan.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Can I ask you this question? Out of those 3 places, which place stimulated you the most?
Oh, okay. There's different answers for different places.
Take your time.
From the artist point of view, I would say Guadeloupe. Just the vibe in general and the energy you feel from people is amazing. I mean, it's the islands, right?
It's the islands.
If you follow the history of hip hop, you'll go back to Jamaica.
You
You'll
gotta
go
go back to the
right?
islands.
So the idea behind that, I mean, props to big what's up to my boy Aldo Gizmo. He's the one that, you know, invited me over. We shot videos. I stayed with his family. We ate barbecues, all that stuff. You know what I mean? He showed me around. I would say that was my highlight as far as artistry and just energy and vibes.
Guadeloupe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to Guadeloupe.
Yes, sir.
Creole.
Yes, sir.
Next question I got to ask you is this. You've been around a lot of places. How do you compare the Montreal hip-hop mentality in comparison to other places you've been?
Wow.
'Cause we do have a hip-hop mentality.
Yeah, it's the thing about the Montreal hip hop mentality here is that you either have people that really know about it or people that don't, and I think that's an age thing.
Yes.
It's
I think
quite- yeah.
now we're in the space
Yeah.
where everybody knows about hip-hop now.
Not so much about the culture and the practices so much. And again, that's the age thing.
Expand.
Well, I'll say it this way. The OGs had a certain responsibility, if you will. Again,
Yes.
it's up to them.
Yes.
To pass on the flambeau like a good way. You know what I mean? Like to teach the culture. A rapper that can't tell you the history is kind of like half doing it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I always say, if you're an MC, make your trip to New York. Just like a Muslim should go to Mecca.
Well said.
You know what I mean? Go to the Bronx. Go check the energy it took to create this culture. You know what I mean? Because Montreal ain't it. Montreal has seasons. It has separation as far as like languages, and it doesn't have that hustle mentality for a lot of things. And that speaks to a bigger thing. And that might be the Quebecer mentality, you know.
It might be.
It might be. But I have yet to identify what it is exactly. But I know it's there. There's something.
You mentioning the Quebec mentality, I'd like to ask you this. How do you propose that we can bring the French hip-hop scene and the English Montreal hip-hop scene together in unison and under the same banner?
Okay. That would be beautiful. Because for people to say rap keb, it should include all languages because it's Quebec. But unfortunately, I feel like the definition of rap keb means de région, which means Quebecer reality, which means reality that not necessarily people from Montreal live, or at least not English people, you know? It's easy. To answer your question, collaborations.
Collaboration.
That's it. I mean, but it's always been done. I mean, you saw I Am back in the day. You saw, there's even new groups, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
MC Solar started off with Gangstar.
Absolutely. Even now to this day, L'Usine with Onyx. L'Usine is a hell of a good group.
That's right.
I mean, it's
It's doable.
Absolutely. Now, from a marketing point of view, it's beautiful too, because we're in Montreal where it's bilingual. So why not?
Why not? I've always thought that because we have the potential is here.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering that.
Absolutely.
As a member of the Black culture, the Black race, what would be your biggest wish for the future of our culture?
Wow. To get back to your roots, or at least understand just to understand history, because I feel it's being wiped out a lot.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, people are not necessarily knowing all this. You get certain Haitians that are proud, you know.
Yes.
I get that. But I'm talking about here. I'm talking about American culture. I'm talking about a lot of things, how they invested or just put in, you know. I think there's lacking a little bit of that.
There's a lot of lack of history into Black Canadians.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the inventors of hockey,
Absolutely.
the Africsville.
Absolutely.
There's many things that we don't know.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
True indeed. If you had to give advice to the new generation coming up in your lane, that is producing, videography, rapping, what advice would you give the new generation?
That's crazy, because I used to say there's a lot of advice, but I would say make all the mistakes you can.
Oh,
There's not, because everyone's different. They all have a different path, you know.
Yeah.
And your mindset that you have is very important, but you need to make those mistakes to get the mindset. And I could warn you a million things. I could say, yo, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. It changes nothing, because at the end of the day, you might want to do that mistake and try to get burnt, but you'll learn. You'll learn.
Experience basically is the best teacher.
Absolutely. But if I am going to answer that question properly, because, you know, doing mistakes and all that, that's reckless, right? I would say, if you can, identify what you like and get yourself a mentor as soon as possible.
Bravo.
If you're 10, 15, you want to rap, surround yourself by someone you think is, you know, is respectable, or at least reach out to people. I mean, I was lucky enough to have mentors as I grew up, especially me losing my father very early.
Yeah.
I was looking for a father figure. And luckily enough, I had people around me who are either MCs or filmmakers or B-boys, and it just guided me. And again, hip hop saved my life on many occasions. But to have people or older guys in my life that I could look up to, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thing, you know?
because the wisdom is there.
Yep.
That's dope.
Certain self-guidance, yeah.
Now, I have a question to ask you. How would you suppose that this new generation can decolonize their minds?
Oh, man. Be careful what you consume, man.
Oh,
Everything is information, from food to what you look at, the news, your music. Be super critical of it. You know, understand that there's a war going on. It's active.
yeah. No man is safe from.
The battle for your mind and control. I mean, it's like George Orwell's, 1984. There's literally obey written everywhere.
Yeah, obey.
Yeah.
Oof. Jamal, I want to ask you a question that is always asked on our show.
Love it.
And this question basically is the motto that we live by. It is the warrior.
Yep.
What is your most triumphant warrior moment that you are most proud of? I'll explain it for you.
Yep.
The warrior moment is when all odds are against you, but by the grace of source, the universe, and your own will, you come over it.
Okay. I could answer very simply. It took a minute for me to realize that was really something that created a shift in my mind. But I would say having my house burned down, it's something that changed my life, because I went from an outlook of trying to have one place and just building that to realizing that, you know what, I'm a child of the world. I could literally tap into different families and just, you know, so it kind of gave me another aspect of, or another outlook on life. And it really made me detach from material things, because for a minute I was tripping.
Yeah, because to lose that much stuff, because you lost pictures, you lost
Everything.
beats, you
Everything.
lost.
I came back to Montreal with everything that I had from Thailand. So that was basically my case. That's it.
So you started back from there with nothing.
Yep.
And you're here today.
Actually, I'll even say it better. I came back only with my camera. You
And
know
what camera? Are you talking about a picture camera?
Yeah. So, well, my bread work. You know what I mean? So, like I said, my camera's my passport to the world. And even when I lost everything, my hustle with the camera gets me back on play. You know, got back on track. Yeah.
Have you been to New Orleans?
No, I want to go.
You want to go? Have you been down south America?
No, never. My mom, a bunch of times.
A bunch of times?
I want to go, but she keeps on warning me that, you know, they shoot brothers over there. So it's, and she's been in situations where she saw, you know, her band members kind of get like harassed and all that. So it would be a family trip, because my mom's really well respected over there, like especially in certain venues. Okay. You know, she's an agent. She's deep in it, you know. Yeah.
If you had to travel someplace to get the most peace, where would you travel to?
Thailand.
Thailand?
Yeah.
Speak of Thailand.
Thailand was amazing. Thailand was very, very uplifting as far as my soul, and just disconnecting. It's a whole nother culture. They look at you different. it's not like when I went to Japan where they look at you with weird eyes, and like Thailand, they don't care. You're really at peace. But it's a beautiful, like I saw beautiful beaches, culture, food, and all that. But yeah, that was a very good moment for me.
That's dope. Do you think that being producer, rapper, videographer, beatboxer, grapher, do you think it causes you difficulty having so many talents, or is it a benefit to you?
Both are true. Both are true, because in one side, you know, it's like putting water into a cup. If you have many cups, you're not filling it up, right? So the thing is that I've been doing it for so long that there's certain things that I use for commerce, which means, you know, making my money and survival. And the other one is more for fun, but they all complete each other, because all the experiences I get, I mean, first of all, it's all under the banner of music in a certain way, except for graphing. But like I said, graphing, I'm not a grapher at all. As a kid, I would graffiti and stuff like that, but that's not my identity.
Would you do it? Would you like doodle on paper, or did you ever try the wall?
I tried the wall, but I was a filler.
Oh, you were a filler?
Yeah, I was a filler. So they would do the outline, I would fill. But
you
know, so I'm not the artist bringing down like.
Oh, you were in there. You were in there. You had the cans.
You know. I like my hip hop moments. I've run away from police and then having the dogs after us and ditching memory cards and stuff like that, and like 4 o'clock in the morning with graphers. I've been through that, you know, ninja mode and all that. Absolutely.
Speaking of that, what is your greatest hip hop moment?
Damn. I kind of spoke about that through the weekend with End of the Week. I got it. So, Rockness Monster.
Bitch, I'm still celebrating. Yeah. Rock filthy but not guilty, y'all. They throwing the big.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
He's dancing in a cypher with his Timbs. Okay. He's popping. I got to battle him not as an MC but as a popper.
As a popper. Who won that challenge?
Well, we're
gonna keep it on the hashtag?
We weren't really trying to like up each other. We were just having a moment, you know.
You were building.
Yeah, we're building, and exactly. But that was fun. That was fun.
Oh, that's
that
dope.
to me was surreal, because like, yo, what? My favorite MC is battling me because he came to me and shit. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, bro, like that was surreal to me. That was beautiful.
Did you get a chance to speak to Rockness?
Of course.
Did he ever make a reference to Sean? Is that something that he still? How did you get an impression that the departure of Sean slowed him down, or it's something that he's celebrating, and the fact that his partner's not there, he's going harder?
I can't speak for him, but I know through his music that for a minute it messes you up to have your, you know, your brother like that. That's one thing, but also he came back and he celebrated his life as well. And every time he has a show, of course Bernadette is there. Of course there's a painting or some type of picture or something of, you know,
of him. He's always there, so he's there in spirit.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what, Jamal?
Yes, sir.
I thank you for answering these questions, man. You did a great job, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Last but not least, I'd like to say shout out to Dino.
Yes, sir. Dino says, oops.
And if you have any other shout outs you want to give, now is the time.
Yes, sir. Whoa, yo, big what's up, Daddy Hispanic. You know, Dino, of course, man. Without you, there's no us. You know what I mean? That's what I say, man. Just big shout out to all the hip hop culture in Montreal, baby.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Montreal. I'd like to give a big shout out to G-Dub, to Quest for Love, to Nazi Sonia, to DJ Hypnotic, and everybody that's part of the Warriorz Talk crew. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this was another edition of Warriorz Talk, where we decolonize our minds. Tune in next time where we'll have somebody else. Peace, y'all.